through automated thoughts, feelings, sensations, action patterns, decision-making tendencies and abilities, etc. Baby Bunny's coming to join. Shh, don't tell anyone I have a Baby Bunny on my lap. I did not understand this before, but now I do, and that is a miracle. So rather than using the past to effectively navigate the present, memories interpret the present as if they were aspects of the past. So instead of navigating the now moment, my unconscious body-mind was trying to navigate the future, but it was actually navigating the past. And dissociation never reduces the miracle that we are. No matter what. No matter what. No matter what. My 27th thesis statement is that dissociation is an umbrella term to describe hundreds of unique experiences that may stem from undercoupled neural wiring, independent activity within the neurobiological social engagement system, brain-body dysregulation, or other neurobiological particulars. All of this energetic wiring, though, may be traced back to past moments of unfulfilled attachment needs that directly impacted the style in which the brain-body system became wired and then continued navigating and regulating through unfolding moments of personal experience. During the sixth part of this 27th thesis analysis, we explored a radically revolutionary, brilliantly divine experience of dissociation, where independent activity within the neurobiological social engagement system causes the unconscious body-mind to navigate new moments in relation to past sensations and action patterns. For example, someone who's 52 years old might experience independent neural activity from 22 years old. And then the way that emotions are felt and decisions are instinctively navigated and everything in between and beyond, all of that automated style of navigation happening behind the scenes stems from neural data all those decades ago, rather than more updated, integrated neural wiring providing navigation through present moments. So independent activity in the neurobiological social engagement system may cause navigation to stem from data sculpted during experience many years ago rather than more updated data. There is another specific style of dissociation that involves implicit reliving, but in a different way than this one that we've already explored. Remember how we've explored that memory is state dependent, and the way that the unconscious body-mind is accessing information to navigate life, and the way the conscious mind can intentionally access information to recall details, so accessibility of memories. And also the processing of new memories as unfolding experiences stimulate the generation of new neural data. So accessibility and processing. Accessibility of existing neural wiring or memory data, and the processing of new neural data or memory intel. Both of these elements of memories are state dependent. And so this particular style of dissociation I'm about to describe, from what I've noticed during my implicit revelations case study, this dissociative experience I'm about to describe here, a unique style of implicit reliving, involves dissociation in the present moment and unconscious access to memories that were processed in a dissociative state. And this helps have insight along the healing journey through life. During this unique style of implicit reliving, there's two things that seem to be occurring to stimulate these unique experiences. First, dissociation in the present moment reduces the neurobiological capacity to fully be in a brand new moment. So let's take a moment. This moment that you're experiencing right here, right now, does it feel like a moment that has never, ever, 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 ever happened before? Or does it kind of seem like a collage of sensations that have already occurred? Does this moment feel brand new, like you're existing here and now, and you've never ever been in this moment before, and you're able to think new thoughts and feel new feelings and have new perceptions and experience a new moment that's never ever occurred before? Or does this moment kind of just feel like the same kind of moment that's been always happening somehow? There's some kind of sensation that you've been here before and you're feeling all the feelings that have already happened. You're thinking all the thoughts that have already happened. There's a reduction in the newness of a moment. And so with this unique style of dissociation, a profound experience of implicit reliving, the first thing that happens is that there's some dissociation in the present moment. This could be very, very subtle and not really obvious. Like it might be really hard to notice. You can't even actually tell that it's happening right away. It's so subtle and minor. Or it could be very major, and you might understand that you cannot be in the present moment because of the way your unconscious body-mind is navigating life, which may stem from an infinite variety of particulars. So it happens along a spectrum of intensity and severity, and that's also helpful to keep in mind. These experiences are never just one box fits everything. There's so many miracles in the neurobiological applications of consciousness, and because of that, the infinite potentials for manifestations of unique dissociative experiences are infinite. It's helpful to keep in mind because we can meet ourselves where we're at with our experiences rather than trying to categorize what we are going through based on what other people might encounter or how other people might describe them. Everyone is so miraculously unique, and no one can ever be put in a box with a limiting descriptor. Life is too infinitely complex to be categorized in such a way. So it's important to understand that all of these unique manifestations of experiences, all the different types of implicit health challenges, all the different types of miraculous dissociative experiences, and everything else, it always occurs along a spectrum of intensity and severity, and there may be an infinite myriad of ways that these experiences can manifest in our everyday realities. So the first thing that occurs with this dissociative implicit reliving is that some level of dissociation in the present moment reduces the capacity for all aspects of consciousness to experience the power of this brand new present moment through the miraculous wonders of neurobiological applications. So stuff that's happening in the brain and the body is reducing the ability for the self to feel fully present in the new moment. That's the first thing that occurs that stimulates this particularly miraculous dissociative implicit reliving. The second piece of what seems to be occurring from my case study ventures is that the long-term memory data is interjecting its style of navigation in a unique way, a dissociative way. And just as a friendly reminder, dissociation is a divine miracle. The unconscious body-mind is performing trillions of miracles to navigate its own miraculous existence. And every type of dissociation is a miracle. Even if it creates challenges in everyday experiences, what is occurring is miraculous and is worthy of being honored as such. Every human being is a divine miracle. And dissociation never reduces the miracle that we are, no matter what. No matter what. No matter what. Dissociation never reduces the miracle that we are. Dissociation is a miracle like all components of the human experience and is worthy of being honored as such. Rather than long-term memory housing past data that effectively navigates a new moment, neural data seems to be projecting the future, which actually causes an implicit reliving of the past. Neural data seems to be projecting a potential future, but it's actually reliving the past. And so instead of being in a totally brand new moment of experience, the unconscious body-mind is jumping ahead and projecting what is going to occur next. But because that stems from neural data, it's actually reliving the past. So instead of being in the present, the unconscious body-mind is skipping ahead and projecting what is going to occur in the next second, minute, or hour. And so the unconscious body-mind is trying to live in the future, basically, unconsciously, automatically, based on instinctive neural activity. But because this is happening, it's actually a subsational, or through subconscious sensations, a subsational reliving of the past. It thinks it's in the future, it's actually reliving the past, it's struggling to be in the present. So we'll explore this a little bit. Let's look at an example. When we listen to a song that we have heard before, how do we experience an instinctive sense of familiarity and orientation with the melody, rhythm, and lyrics? So let's play with this a little bit. When we listen to a song, but it's a song we've heard many, many times before, are we, A, in a brand new moment listening to a song that we have a sense of familiarity with? Or are we listening to a song and that experience is stimulating all of this information about the past times that we have heard that song, and that information is being projected and we're actually reliving the neural data? Are you following me? So let's play with this a little bit. It's very, very subtle. And it took me a really long time to kind of pinpoint and explore this. It's so profoundly subtle. When we listen to music, though, and it's a song we've heard many, many times, how do we know how to hum or sing along? That ability comes from long-term memory data. We listened to music, there was a sense of familiarity. Our working memory was like hungry hippos gathering intel. Like the hungry hippos gathering intel, our working memory is like, okay, this seems important. We're going to memorize this word and we're going to memorize this word. And okay, I got a sense of rhythm and familiarity with this melody. And so we listened to music that we'd never heard once upon a time, but then we listened to it again and again and again. And those experiences cultivated neural wiring. It started out as a little small piece of data, but then we listened to the song again and again, and it activated associated intel to navigate the moment. And then with that activation and the collection of new data, that region of neural wiring grew, and now there's this big old beautiful region of neural wiring that has information about this song that you like to listen to. So then when you go to listen to that song, you know what rhythm's coming next. You can tap your foot, you can snap, you can dance, you can sing, you can hum, because you know the ups and downs of the rhythm. You know what the lyrics are and how they're sung. This part he goes really low, and this part they go really high, and this part they elongate. There's all these different components to music, right? There's the ups and the downs and the rhythms and the flows and the different instruments and the different beats and the build up and the drop and there's all these different features, right? So when we listen to a song we're familiar with, we have a sense of knowing about what is coming next, and that's why it can be fun to listen to familiar music, because you're a part of it. If you listen to songs you don't know, you're like, I don't know what's coming next. I'm less involved in this experience because I can't sing along. And if I try to dance to it, this song suddenly went a direction I wasn't expecting, and now my dance moves are off, right? So when we listen to some music that we're familiar with, we kind of have this sense of connection, and it can be more fun. Our engagement with it is more enjoyable and fluid, okay? So we've got like this connection with it, this familiarity, this orientation with like the rhythms and the melodies and also the lyrics, right? All of that information comes from the neural wiring, right? Okay, so we don't know a song at all. We listen to it again and again and again and again. It sculpts neural data. Now we're familiar with the song. We listen to the song and we know what is coming next. That information comes from long-term memory data, okay? But when we listen to a familiar song, there's a couple things that might happen. And I've experienced both of these in the past year, so it's really fascinating to explore this and kind of compare and contrast the uniqueness of these divine experiences. Less than a year ago, when I would go to listen to a familiar song, there was not a sense of orientation in the present moment as a completely brand new experience. But I did not know that fully at the time, because at the time I was so much more grounded and present in the new moment than I had been ever at all for many years. And so in contrast to what had been happening, I was very grounded and very present in a very new moment. So I didn't recognize the severity of the dissociation because it was a reduction of the intensity that had been occurring. But now that I'm here, it's profound how different it is to be in a new moment. So less than a year ago, when I would be in a new moment, there was not complete contact with the brand newness of experience. And in that process, what seemed to be happening is that the reduction of grounded presence in the brand newness of the moment, which stems from neurobiological activity, that's not ever something that consciousness chooses. It's something that happens in the brain and the body, and it can only gradually be healed through love and presence. What seemed to be happening was that in order to compensate for the lack of groundedness in the brand new moment of experience, the neural structures seem to be interjecting information to fill in the gaps. Okay, so if we're in a brand new moment of experience, our unconscious body mind is gathering loads and loads of data. Like, that's a wall. I'm oriented in my relation to time and space in relation to that wall. I'm seeing that wall now. I know that that wall has been there, but I'm in a new moment and I am perceiving that wall in the brand newness of a moment. I'm collecting new neural data about that wall. And that's just obviously one piece of stimulus. There's sights, there's sounds, there's colors, there's the air on our skin, there's the thoughts we're thinking, the emotions we're feeling, what did you eat for breakfast? How is your body digesting food? There are trillions of things being gathered in everyday experiences that we don't really think about. Without complete groundedness in the present moment, the unconscious body-mind is not collecting all of that data in that particular way. The data is instead stimulating neurobiological activity in a dissociative way. And then instead of gathering brand new data, the stimulus is activating existing data sculpted during the past, and that information is projected into the present moment. So instead of being in a new moment, gathering information for the first time, because you've never been in this moment ever before, the unconscious body-mind is using that stimulus unconsciously, automatically. All of this happens beyond awareness and control. The unconscious body-mind is collecting the data of stimulus, and then that is activating existing neural wiring that's being projected into realities as if it's a now moment. So rather than using the past to effectively navigate the present, memories interpret the present as if they were aspects of the past. Rather than the past experiences that sculpted neural wiring, rather than that data effectively navigating this new now moment, the past is projected into the present as if it is occurring now. And so it's a very unique dissociative style of unconscious navigation provided by automated styles of neurobiological activity. So reduced groundedness and the newness of the moment, and then stimulation of memories that were processed dissociatively, so they provide a unique style of navigation. So in this example, if someone listens to music while they're experiencing dissociation, which is what I was doing last year, then the neural data that's sculpted to create a sense of familiarity and orientation in relation to that song is stored in a dissociative fashion, which is a beautiful miracle, but then it just provides navigation in a unique way, just a different way than it would if the neural data had been sculpted when there wasn't dissociation. When neural data is sculpted during dissociative experiences and then is activated during a dissociative experience, then the style of automated navigation holds dissociative properties. And so in this example, I would go and listen to music, but instead of being oriented in a brand new moment, the music was stimulating the neural data from the past times of listening to it. And so the abstract sensations that I felt while listening to the song before were projected into the now moment. Abstract pieces of sensations. So rather than being completely oriented in a brand new moment and having a sense of familiarity with the song, I was in sensational reliving of past moments when I listened to the song. Rather than my working memory being oriented in a new moment and long-term memory having all these awesome, thriving, harmoniously coupled connections and effectively navigating a new moment, there was reduction in the present moment and the activation of dissociatively gathered memory intel is projecting sensations from the past into the present moment. So instead of being in a brand new moment listening to a song that I knew, I was halfway in the moment and then halfway in the past as my unconscious body-mind used data gathered during past dissociative experiences to navigate the now. And so listening to the song activated sensations from all the past times I had heard that song. And so this can be a powerful coping trick if you listen to a song and you associate that music with a lot of positive emotional sensations. Then later on you can listen to the song and activate those positive emotional sensations to have them projected, and it can be a very powerful coping trick when encountering chronic dissociation. But this unique style of dissociation also held challenges, because if I listened to a song that wasn't connecting with great emotional sensations, then it would activate that data and relive that data without any groundedness in the present moment. So I kind of had to be mindful about how I was using stimulus, knowing that it was going to activate disintegrated neural wiring that would provide dissociative navigation. And it's just another miracle along the healing journey through life. And as always, we practice love and presence, unconditional presence and unconditional love, and we maneuver these experiences from that space of groundedness in our power, so that no matter what we're going through, we always have power to navigate it, because we are not the experience, we are the being within the experience. Another example to shed light on this unique miracle of dissociative implicit reliving is when I was using an exercise video that I had used before, and how my unconscious body-mind understood how to navigate life in those moments. Less than a year ago, when I would use a video that I had exercised with before, my unconscious body-mind would project the next moment based on neural wiring gathered from past experiences, rather than being fully grounded in the power of a brand new moment. And so when I would do this workout video, it would be hard to focus on what I was doing in the moment, because my unconscious body-mind was jumping to the next potential moment based on neural projections. So instead of navigating the now moment, my unconscious body-mind was trying to navigate the future, but it was actually navigating the past based on this unique style of neurobiological activity that was contributing to miraculous manifestations of dissociation. So during these unique experiences, I'd be trying to focus on what my body was doing in the now moment, that mind-body connection. And it was difficult to concentrate on the mind-body connection and what was happening in the new moment, because my unconscious body-mind was projecting the next moment. And so instead of the mind having 100% connectivity to the body and being fully oriented in a brand new experience, there was a subtle disconnect where the mind was experiencing independent activity of neural data without complete connection to the body, who was in a new moment. So the body was exercising in a brand new moment. The mind was like halfway connected with some awareness, but then like most of the mind was experiencing neural projections. So the mind was encountering a potential of the next moment as neural data from past experiences provided dissociative navigation. And in that experience, the mind had reduced connectivity to the body, who was in a brand new moment of experience, exercising in a moment that had never happened before. So a very subtle mind-body disconnection contributed to this unique style of dissociative implicit reliving. And the mind was jumping ahead to what was going to happen the next second or the next minute. And because the mind was over here in that future potential based on existing neural data from the past, it had reduced connection with the power of the present moment and full associations with the body. So two things happen in this dissociative implicit reliving. One is reduced connection with the power of the present moment, and the next is activation of dissociatively processed neural wiring, where it provides navigation in a unique way. And then subconscious sensations are in feelings of past moments that are being projected as a future potential rather than being fully oriented in the brand new moment. One way to perceive this is it almost seems like short-term working memory and long-term memory were swapped, where instead of working memory having this understanding of, okay, I have all this information and I'm navigating a brand new moment, ta-da, miracle, brand new moment, and then long-term memories back here like, what's up, I have all these awesome connections and I'm providing navigation fluidly and effectively, and ta-da, we're working together. Instead of that happening, what seemed to be happening was the short-term working memory kind of had some glitches and was like, oh, I'm having a hard time understanding that I'm in the present moment. Oh, is this a new moment? I can't fully understand that. And then the long-term memory is like, oh, I've got all these unique connections. So here, how about you have some information, and instead of you being fully in the moment, you're going to have some of this past data, and you're going to think it's the new moment, but it's actually past data trying to navigate the future. So it almost seemed like there were pieces of long-term and short-term memory that were being swapped, where the working memory was like, I'm having a hard time gathering all the data in the new moment. So, hey, long-term memory, can you just kind of give me some info? And long-term memory's over here like, this info's a little bit uniquely processed because of the past dissociation, but here, have some data and understand your unfolding realities. So it kind of just seemed like there was this unique dissociative exchange between the elements of working memory and long-term memory. Just one insight about what could potentially be happening from what I've been observing through my case study work. Basically, in this dissociative implicit reliving, there are aspects of the past being sensationally relived in the backdrop of the unconscious body-mind rather than being fully oriented in a brand new moment. And part of this might be contributed to mind-body disconnectivity. If the body's in a new moment, but the mind can't totally have connection with that, then the mind will be experiencing neural activity and projections that are trying to navigate life in a very unique way. There could be a variety of contributing factors, but all in all, basically, the unconscious body-mind is reliving implicit data from the past as that neural intel tries to navigate the unfoldings and nows and potentials, rather than being fully oriented in a brand new moment and neural data from the past effectively navigating the unfoldings of new experiences. This dissociative implicit reliving seems to especially stem from the activation of implicit memory data that was sculpted during past moments of dissociation. So when we're in experience, there's neural data constructed, and how our neurobiological applications are flowing to impact personal experiences of consciousness. All of that activity determines how memories are processed. And so when there's dissociation, newly unfolding moments are processed dissociatively. So this dissociative implicit reliving seems to especially stem from the activation of implicit emotional and or procedural memories that were sculpted during past moments of dissociation. And so they project information in the unconscious body-mind regarding navigation, especially associated with emotional sensations or innate bodily movements. So how the body feels and or how the body moves. During the two examples we've already explored, while listening to music, there might be the projection of emotional sensations from the past times of listening to the music. And in the example of the exercise video, there was the projection of implicit procedural memories where the body was understanding what it was going to do next or how it was going to move next. And that information was louder within navigation than what was actually happening in the immediate present moment. So this dissociative implicit reliving especially stems from implicit memory activity where that neural data was sculpted during past moments of dissociation. While we've looked at two examples, this can happen with any type of stimulus. Any type of stimulus, from putting on certain kinds of clothes that were worn during past moments of dissociation, stepping into an environment that you had experiences in the past where there was dissociation. This can literally happen with any type of stimulus. If you hear a type of song, if you watch a type of movie, if you wear certain types of clothes, if you're in a certain place, if you're interacting with a certain person, if you're eating a certain kind of food, if you're smelling a certain smell that you smelled in the past when there was dissociation, any type of stimulus can activate neural data that produces this dissociative implicit reliving. When a type of stimulus is associated with past moments where there was dissociation, there holds the potential for the ignition of this dissociative implicit reliving. So while we explored the examples of listening to music or watching an exercise video that had been seen and heard during past moments of dissociation, this can happen with any type of stimulus if that stimulus holds the potential to activate implicit memory data sculpted during past moments where there was an experience of dissociation that unconsciously impacted how memories were sculpted, processed, and stored. As previously mentioned, this ranges along an infinite spectrum of intensity and severity. It could be so subtle that you can't even really notice it at all. It takes a lot of mindful effort to even tell that this is happening because it's so gentle and so mild and so covertly and subtly occurring within subconscious realms. Or it could be so profoundly all-consuming that it overtakes all elements of personal realities. Or it could be somewhere in between. So as with all dissociative experiences, and really any type of unique experience or implicit health challenge or unique type of neurobiological activity affecting personal experiences of consciousness, this ranges along an infinite spectrum of intensity and severity. Another extraordinarily helpful insight about this unique version of dissociative implicit reliving is that the implicit neural wiring being activated to contribute to these automated styles of personal experience could stem from recent dissociative experiences, or they could stem from neural data from many years ago where there was dissociation. So it could stem from activity of recent neural data gathered during the past 2 weeks, for example, or it could stem from neural data from the past 5 or 10 years. And so the neural data itself could be recent, or it could be long ago, or it could be a variety, and that's helpful to keep in mind. So for example, when I was in the experience of watching the exercise video, that dissociative implicit reliving was from data from the past 1 or 2 weeks, where I'd used the exercise video, but there was still some dissociation while I was in the final stages of healing with adaptable consciousness condition. And during that process, experience sculpted new neural data. So when I went to go use the exercise video again and again in the unfolding days, that neural intel compounded, and then when I'm over here watching this exercise video that I've been using for a couple weeks, it's difficult to focus on the present moment experience of my body because implicit procedural memory is jumping to the next moment because of how this neural data is being activated that was gathered just from the past 1 or 2 weeks. Okay? Another experience of dissociative implicit reliving, however, involved me putting on a sweater that I had worn regularly for many, many, many years. And when I put on the sweater, I could not feel the sweater physically going onto my body in the moment. Instead, I was reliving sensations unconsciously from every time I had worn the sweater during the past 5+ years. But they were all abstract, emotional, or somatic sensations. And so instead of my body being in a present moment where I could feel the sweater going onto my body, the process of putting the sweater on my body activated associated intel and gathered from past moments of dissociation, and all the feelings, not the details of experience, but the feelings of experience. Those are very different. It's not like remembering, oh, I remember that one time I put the sweater on before I went into the restaurant. It wasn't like that. It was, I remember the way my body was feeling in that moment 3 years ago, and I'm reliving that abstract sensation instead of feeling the sweater go on my body now. So it could stem from recent neural data and or past neural data from many years ago. And that will also impact how it feels to experience this dissociative implicit reliving. Because when you're experiencing 5 years of dissociatively processed implicit memory data, that holds a little bit of a greater intensity than reliving 1 week of neural data. And so the dissociation was much more intense and severe when implicit memories from 5 years were being dissociatively projected than when 1 week or 2 weeks of implicit memories were being projected during this unique style of dissociative implicit reliving. So data could be recent or from long ago or somewhere in between, but that is going to impact how it feels to experience this. So where's the neural data from? Is it recent, from long ago, or from a little bit of both? And does it stem from implicit emotional memories or implicit procedural memories, or both? And how intense or severe is this style of dissociation? When we assess this through these sort of observations, we can bring some greater understanding to what our parts of consciousness are going through while encountering these automated styles of personal realities. One final little exploratory insight into this miraculous topic is that this style of dissociative implicit reliving sensationally feels very different from the dissociative implicit reliving we explored in part 6 of this 27th thesis analysis along this wondrous implicit revelations case study. And it makes total sense that they would hold different feelings because the neurobiological activity that's stimulating them is actually different. And this is so exciting to understand in new ways through my implicit revelations case study explorations. The dissociative implicit reliving we explored in part 6 of this 27th thesis analysis stems from independent activity in the neurobiological social engagement system, where neural sculptures from past years in association with different roles and different elements of unconscious priorities are independently igniting and navigating life in a unique way. But that data was not necessarily sculpted during past moments of dissociation. It's independent activity in the neurobiological social engagement system where there's present moment dissociation because of this independent activity in the neurobiological social engagement system. But this type of dissociative implicit reliving we're exploring here in part 7 involves past moments of dissociation that disrupted neural processing and present moment dissociation, potentially amplified by a mind-body disconnect where the mind is experiencing neural projections from implicit memories sculpted during past moments of dissociation with reduced connectivity to the body in the present moment. So the underlying neurobiological core causalities of these unique styles of dissociation have a completely different style of unconscious activity. In the one we explored in part 6, the neural wiring wasn't necessarily sculpted during moments of dissociation, but present moment dissociation is involved in independent activity in the neurobiological social engagement system, so neural wiring from the past is navigating the now without full connection to all of the updated data. And it won't necessarily feel like dissociation because you're still navigating life from an aspect of the self in the present moment based on automated neural activity. But this type of dissociation here we're exploring in part 7, even though it's also a type of implicit reliving, it has more of a feeling of dissociation, as there's present moment dissociation where you're struggling to be fully oriented in the power of the now, and activity of neural data, especially implicit memory, sculpted from past moments of dissociation. So the way the unconscious body-mind is navigating identity and life have double whammy dissociative properties, and there could be potentially a subtle or major mind-body disconnect that's amplifying how the mind is experiencing neural projections without complete connection to the body in the present moment. So neurobiological activity is different in these two types of dissociation, and because of that, they feel different. There is the potential for them to occur simultaneously, but these two types of dissociative implicit reliving are different, and they feel different to experience. Because the majority of our inner realities unfold beyond awareness, approximately 99.08% of everything happening inside of us is occurring beyond what we can directly perceive through our conscious awareness, it's important to keep hidden realities in mind, because all of these things that we're talking about here are just clues, surface clues. While we're noticing this unique activity here in the forefront of our being, there's always so much more happening behind the scenes, impacting parts of consciousness beyond what we can directly know about. While we're up here noticing clues at the forefront of our experience, parts of consciousness are encountering a whole myriad of neural activity beyond what we know about. And when we keep them in mind while maneuvering our life experience, we have more power. When we unite from within with all aspects of ourself, the power of consciousness expands from the inside out. And when parts rally together, there's more healing hope for empowering transformation. And we never want to abandon our subconscious parts. There are always parts of us experiencing neurobiological activity beyond what we know about. And even just keeping that reality in mind, even without understanding what it is they're experiencing, even just keeping them in mind can help bring self-attunement, where we are connected with ourselves. We don't want to blend with parts and be misattuned where we are their experiences without power to navigate them. But we also don't want to be unattuned where we ostracize parts and we don't have connection with them. The goal is self-attunement, where we are distinct and connected. The observational self is distinct from the experiential self, but with connection to be there for those aspects of consciousness. And so while maneuvering these unique dissociative experiences, it's important to keep in mind that what we directly perceive is only a minuscule fraction of everything happening. And there are parts of our consciousness first-handedly experiencing all the stuff inside of us beyond what we know about. And just keeping them in mind can help with the process of self-attunement so we can amplify our personal power from the inside out.